Hi, welcome or welcome back to my channel. So let's see what we're guided with today. Oh dear, I've got these cards that they're just, when they're new cards, they're so slippy. They just slip absolutely everywhere. So I have no idea where we're going with this today. So we're just going to see what happens. I really need a table. So if anybody wants to donate a table to me, I'm up for that. Okay. So I wanted to just pick some runes and pick some cards and see where this reading kind of goes today. And we've got some messages, which they're messages of love, but it doesn't necessarily need to be about love. But I do feel at the moment we're in an energy of a lot of the readings that are coming out have been about relationships, whether that's past relationships or new relationships. So let's see what runes we have for the energy of today. What is going on here? I'm already picking up a message of there's been a lack of communication for many of you, perhaps to do with somebody that's on your mind right now. We have Nordis, which is coming through on here. So Nordis is a rune. There's two different things with this. It can either be a feeling of restriction, like you're stuck in a space. But Nordis can also be an energy of you, it's almost like somebody who's in survival mode, but getting on with it, you know, trying to figure out what their needs are and showing up for themselves. So Nordis is that kind of energy of like showing up for yourself on there. I'm getting a name like Nikki or Nick with that as well, that might be important to you. And Isa. So this is a time where it feels a bit like a straitjacket. The more you try and struggle, the tighter it becomes and the more restricted you feel and the more helpless you feel. So Spirit's asking you right now to just relax, to take a deep breath, because maybe right now isn't the time for trying to struggle through something. If something's becoming like a struggle, if it's feeling so much like a struggle, then it's time to surrender. It's time to stop trying so hard to move forward with it. You may not want to hear that. You may feel like, well, yeah, but if I let go of this, then that means it will never happen. Just trust in what's been guided to you. This bag, oh my God, it's no longer a bag. It's just a piece of leather that's rolling around everywhere. Okay, we have answers. So this is about communication, I feel, for many. There's a restriction around an ability to communicate, and there's a struggle surrounding that as well. There's perhaps a lack of closure here with a particular situation. Maybe this could be a family member. It doesn't have to be somebody that you want a relationship with. It could be somebody that you're currently in a relationship with. Maybe you're in a living situation together and the communication isn't there and you're both feeling restricted. You know, just not knowing which way to move forward. And this is something that I always say to my kids is, you know, if you can't talk nice to each other, sometimes it's best if you just have a little bit of space. And in that space, everybody has time to observe themselves and look at themselves and wonder. And I wonder if this is a situation where there's been perhaps a separation here. Again, you may be living together and just not really in each other's spaces, or maybe it's a separation where you aren't even in each other's lives anymore, but still thinking about each other. Or maybe there's not been any closure. Perhaps there's something that you want closure on to be able to move forward. I do get a sense of this like unused potential. It's like there was potential here, but it never really took off. It never really happened. I don't know why my little finger's gone really, really cold. Something about vulnerability with this, I feel. Yeah, that could be one or two parties that are feeling a little bit vulnerable around this particular subject. So maybe it's a difficult one to bring up into a conversation, so that's why no conversation's been had yet. But there's definitely a need for rubbing the sticks together to create fire. It's almost like you've got all the tools, there's the potential to build that fire, but somebody needs to light the first spark. And I feel like that's where it's at. It's like a stalemate. Somebody isn't lighting that spark. I'm so sorry. I feel like I've got something up my nose. Like, you know, if you've just walked through one of those department stores where they're spraying perfumes and it gets up your nose and you're like, I've just had that kind of feeling. Don't know what that's about, but it's almost like, you know, like overpowering smell, overpowering scent. Okay, so let's have a look and see. I'm going to see what messages we've got first of all. See if there's any messages to do with this, because I do feel like it is to do with a relationship kind of energy. Two people not really communicating. There's a restriction there. There's a struggle. Unworthy. Okay, so we've got you're a better person than I am. So I do feel like somebody here feels they're doing some soul searching or needing to do some soul searching because they're not feeling worthy of your love. That's really sad that somebody doesn't feel worth it, or that they're putting the other person on a pedestal as saying, you know, you are better than me, you're a better person than me. I do feel from this that there are unsaid things, there are things that need to come out. And in that restriction, in not being able to speak up and say, it's kind of holding this false story in their mind as to what's actually happening on there. Oh my life, there's something, I don't know what it is. I feel choked. I feel absolutely choked. So I don't know if somebody's feeling really down on themselves at the moment, really sort of like, but they're doing that to themselves. That is a sabotaging way of being, and it doesn't need to be like that. Let's see if we have any other messages coming through on here. I feel like this is the person that you want to talk to, actually, that is feeling that way, feeling like they're not just not worth your time. Responsibilities. I have to take care of my financial and emotional needs. So that goes with Nordies on here. There's a lot to do with, like, when you try and make a move towards this, maybe something else pops up, like, you know, if you've got children, your child's not very well, so, oh, well, I can't talk to them today because I've got to be at home with my children. Or maybe work gets in the way as well. And I feel like with the emotional needs, it's almost like maybe you don't really know what your emotional needs are. And shadow side, you made me realise my flaws. So maybe there has been a conversation in the past that kind of went something like this. I feel something's been highlighted about behaviour or the way somebody feels they've been treated, and the other person's kind of taken that as a blow, and it's made them realise, like, you know, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that somebody views me in that way. I don't like that that's how I'm coming across to other people. And I do feel like this person is now doing a lot of shadow work. And when I say shadow work, what I mean is that they are acknowledging and observing their behaviours and how they show up in relationships, like a soul searching kind of thing, to be able to move forward. And that's, again, I think represented through Nordies of, you know, it's knowing what your needs are and how you may be sabotaging those needs with the way that you are. There's something called orlog, and orlog is about how we, whatever you do, anything that you do, it's a bit like karma basically. So whatever your actions are, there are consequences to those actions. And I feel like when you state that you want something that is pure or true, but you're not being pure or true with your intentions within it, then your orlog is going to throw up at you lessons around that. Okay? That might be for you, or it might be for the person that you want to talk to. But either way, it will bring up lessons for you based around how you're showing up in certain situations. So it feels to me like this could be the kind of connection, I hate saying twin flame, but you know, where two people have got together and kind of held up mirrors for each other, but it's actually helped those people to go away and work on themselves for growth in their individual way, in their individual plan. So is there any other messages coming through from here? I do feel like maybe one of you or both of you have got children, got families already. So it's almost like, as much as you like to put energy into resolving this, there are lots of other factors that get in the way of you being able to just get on with talking about it. Reflection, being away from you has allowed me to gain clarity. So yeah, this, however messy or unresolved it maybe feels, or just, you know, it wasn't how you wanted things to go, it's actually been relevant for both of you to reflect, to understand what you need to do for yourself in order to move forward in your life. Okay, being together, maybe you weren't showing up for your responsibilities when you were together. You know, maybe you were like bunking off work, or turning up late for things, or just you know, not doing or not even like not doing the washing up, not doing the washing or whatever, just not doing all the things that you know you should be doing. And I mean, you know, when you're in the first stages of being with somebody, yeah, you want to spend as much time together as possible, don't you? But maybe this was showing up as sort of like things aren't really going well, and you're kind of holding each other back. So there was growth that needed to happen here. So it's almost like, you know, the Great Spirit kind of was like, you know what, you guys just need to take a break right now. You need to ease off a little bit. But the fact that this is coming through on here kind of suggests that this person is still on your mind, that you have been through these lessons, seen these things, but there is still this want for communication. There is still this want, and this is coming through as not just on the physical level, but I feel like on a spiritual level, it's like you're not being allowed to let go of each other, and Spirit's kind of trying to guide you together. So let's have a look and see. Actually, I'm going to do just one more channel message on here, because what is the next step in this connection? Is there any more information on here? Because this is all sort of like past stuff on there, and I just want to see if there's anything moving forward that we can have. Okay, well, it can't get any clearer than that. We've got reunion. We will always come back to each other. So if you're feeling like this isn't over, I feel like we've got more to talk about, I feel like there's an opportunity to get back together, then I feel like this is kind of your key to that. You know, this is the future of this connection, is reunion. We will always come back to each other. Now, maybe you've yo-yoed a little bit in this connection anyway. Maybe that's why you're feeling like it's not over, because we've done this a few times now. We've on and off. If that is happening for you, then maybe you need to make a decision based on your self-worth. You know, has this person shown up in a way that I feel I can move forward with? Do they align with my values? If not, you know exactly how it's going to happen again, don't you? And it's just going to happen again. So I would suggest, and I do feel guided to say, only show up for this if it's matching you on your level. If it's not, then maybe it's not really, you know, maybe your self-worth is more important at this time. Well, your self-worth is always important, but running into something to gain victory over it, or to sort of, you know, kind of stroke your ego sometimes, isn't going to fulfill you in the way that you want to be fulfilled. And you might be blocking yourself from something much better for you if you know how it's going to go. But if you meet up with this person and actually you can see the growth within them, like it's almost like they're a completely different person, then it's got potential. And so I do feel like this reunion could go either way. It could be that actually nothing's really changed here. You know, I'm after a version of you that I've got in the back of my head, but actually seeing you, I'm not really resonating with you. Or it might be that you're like, wow, you've aligned with with all of the aspects of a person that I want to be with, you know, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and sexual as well. It's like all of the elements are there. Then go for it, because that means that you've both done the work. You've taken that time to do the work individually to be able to move together. So let's see what the tarot deck says. So this is, I love these. There's ink and intuition. So they're like tattoo cards. So we'll see how we get on with them today. Okay, well, we'll take those, shall we? Let's have a little look at those. So what do we have on here? Oh my God. Okay. This is very unusual. There are somebody's in a bit of a hurry here. They're looking for a victory. They're looking for an outcome with this. And this was nestled in between the sun and the moon. But both the sun and the moon were actually in the reverse position. So there's something about delays here. There's something about, you know, and it always makes me laugh with the sun, because it's always got those two children at the bottom, which do look like lovers. So I feel like perhaps this particular love has felt very childlike, but sometimes because of that, it has maybe had an immaturity to it. And what you have to be careful with the sun is that, you know, it brings sunshine and happiness to a lot of things, but at the same time, it can burn you if you get too close or if you spend too long in it. So this, you know, there is a desire, there is a want in this connection, but it's feeling uninspired at this time. But there's this real drive to do something within it. But what's holding it back is the moon in reverse as well. So there's something about, there's a lot of like, I want to say secretiveness going on with this. Yeah. There's a lot of fear. Yeah. I do feel that one of you, or maybe both of you, feel like that this is kind of, you both feel driven towards it. That's in the centre. But on either side of it is like fear and more fear. Fear and doubt, basically. Fear and doubt in the middle of a desire to drive forward. So it's almost like you both feel that you are being guided to drive forward with something, but there's so much fear around it. And I feel like that's maybe, you know, a fear that you're going in the wrong direction, a fear that it won't work out, a fear that there's going to be issues with communication again. So let's have a look at that. I'm going to ask why the moon in reverse. What's that all about? Why the moon in reverse? I've just got an image. I just saw the devil then. I feel like one of you is maybe obsessing, or perhaps both of you are. Perhaps there's a fear that like you're a bit too into this, a bit too obsessed about this. And maybe that's affecting your way forward, your move forward. There's something about intimacy, like a want for intimacy here. But maybe you want that too much, or you feel like you want that too much, or you've got a fear that that's going to maybe in the past there was a lot of intimacy, there was a lot of intense passion, I feel, within this connection, and there's been a lot of misinterpretations as well. There's been a miscommunication, or maybe an expectation that turned out to be somebody's opinions of you because of their past. Let me just grab that without knocking everything over. Okay. Whoa! So because of that past, somebody here, I feel, has felt like that they are just a piece of meat, or that, you know, I'm in a situation here where all I am to this person is this, and actually I want to come across as this. I want them to know this about me. I want them to understand this about me. But it seems to have been all just about sex or all about passion to start with, maybe. And you want to show up as something different to that. So the energy I was getting as I was shuffling from there is that there's still a drive for that, and it feels very intense, like a real want for that. Maybe you're both really, really physically attracted to each other. But you don't want to come in with that. You don't want it to be about that anymore. It's on a deeper level, and I feel like it's becoming more of a deeply spiritual connection as much as anything else. But there is this drive, this desire, and I feel like one of you potentially, and it feels like the divine masculine in this particular scenario, is worried about coming in and having this real urge and desire and messing it all up. That's what I'm feeling from this. I've got the Knight of Coins. So I asked about the moon on this one. So the fear and the doubt and things. And there's also this fear of not having enough to give. Maybe you're not very good with money, or the other person isn't very good with money. And there's a fear around, like, you know, is this person going to drain me financially? Or, you know, maybe you've had that kind of experience in the past and you're worried that that's going to be the case. Or maybe you're worried about this person needing to look after you in a financial sense because you're not very good with money, and maybe they've helped you in the past and you're a bit like, I don't want to come across as a loser that doesn't have any money or something like that. Yeah. But with this particular night, there's something about the doubt is overridden by somebody wanting to feel safe and secure. And I feel like in this connection, there is a feeling of safety and security. And somebody wants to not give up on that because that's exactly what they need right now. So why is the sun here? Let's have a look at the sun. Oh my God, I can't pick up the card. I'm going to look at it. It's the death card. So this is death and rebirth. This is a transformation, and I do feel like you've both gone away and worked on yourselves and transformed. Somebody I feel has actually lost weight as well, or perhaps been working on themselves on a physical level, perhaps going to the gym more, you know, really. And actually, I feel like somebody here has let go of some other people that were in their lives too. It just feels like there's two other connections in there that this person has potentially let go of to be more apparent in this connection. So let's see, why is the sun here? What is the sun about in the reverse position? Why is the sun here in the reverse position? These cards are quite satisfying to shuffle because they've got like a mat to them. I'm just going to have to pick one. We've got the Eight of Wands on the bottom of the deck. So this can be about good news coming in, conclusions, you know, things being addressed and messages. Right, okay. So we've got the Seven of Coins on here. Now, this is about growth, and it's almost like when you've done so much work on yourself and you've reached a different level of self-worth, moving forward in a connection with somebody else, you may be worried that that's going to affect how far you've come. It's almost like I want to just keep this contained. Maybe you feel like you've got a delicate flower there. And imagine if you were to take that delicate flower around to your friend's house and you're worried that it's going to get knocked over or it's not going to be treated well, it's not going to be looked after. So there's an element here about vulnerability, and, you know, it's like you're coming to this person with your flower and you want them to take care of it as much as you've taken care of it. So that's about you. You want this person to take care of you as much as you've taken care of yourself right now. And maybe there's fear or doubt around whether this person will. Maybe if there's been issues in the past that have affected this relationship, maybe you did something and there's a fear there that this person's being all nice now to lure me into a false sense of security, and then they're just going to smack me down. Maybe that's happened to you in the past and there's a fear around that happening again. So that's what I'm getting with the sun in reverse on there. Is like, if you're worried you're going to get your fingers burnt, that this person is leading you into a false sense of security. But ask yourself a question there. Are you projecting your past onto this person, or are you looking at facts? And I will always say to people when they start talking about their partners or talking about somebody else and things, I always ask, like, are you talking from fact, or are you talking from your past? Ask yourself that question, because, you know, that's how things, when we make an assumption, have you ever written down the word assumption, right? And if you put a line past the second S and then down after the U, and it says us, you and me. So when you make an assumption, you make an us out of you and me. Get it? Always remember that. Oh, pigeon. Okay, I'm just going to see what other information we have on here. So yeah, don't make assumptions. Find out facts and work with the facts. So what is the future of this connection then now? What is going to happen next? Let's go with that. What's going to happen next with this connection? What is going to happen next? Right. I don't know if that's going to stay still or not. Okay. Now, both of these again have come out in reverse, so I'm not sure why that is. Now, the 9 of coins, this is about somebody that's very self-assured, very sort of self-reliant, doesn't really need to rely on anybody else. So I'm getting this energy again of maybe a fear of codependency, maybe a fear of like not having enough, not being reliant enough, not having enough discipline is another thing actually. So again, there's more fear around this as to sort of like, you know, if I move forward with this, am I just going to go back into that space of not doing what I need to do because I'm in with this person? Okay, that's what I'm getting from that. And we've got the Justice card in the reverse position. Now, now this is usually, you know, where there is integrity, there is truth. So there's something about maybe not the full truth coming out on this. There's also an element of self-sabotage too. So you've got to watch that. If you want this connection to take off, you've got to watch the self-sabotage. So always be organic, always be truthful as to what you are bringing out. I'm just going to clarify those two because I don't know why they've come out in the reverse position on there. I've got the Empress on the bottom as well. So I do feel like deep down there's a want for unconditional love, for like this love and happiness. You know, what you bring, the divine feminine. A lot of earth energy with that as well. So why the 9 of Coins in reverse? Okay, I've got the 2 of Coins here as well. So it's about juggling. There's something about a juggle. I feel like it's sort of, you know, this connection, it has potential. It really does have potential, but there's a need for balance. There is a need for equal give and take on there. And I feel like one of you is viewing the other one as having it all, as being really stable, and maybe seeing themselves as not very stable. And maybe you're both viewing each other in that way and it's not being discussed, it's not being talked about. You can't move forward in any connection if there is no communication or truth. You just can't. So we have the 3 of Coins and the Queen of Swords. So there's also an element of, yeah, there's an element of this not being accepted. Maybe there's a fear of rejection with that. There's a want to repair this. There's a want to work together as a team, but it's going to need the kind of communication that's very direct, that is very truthful, and, you know, coming through on there. You can't have this sort of imbalance of like whether there's truth or not. Hang on, what is that? Both of you have the ability to sabotage this, both of you, if you are looking in the past too much or not coming at it from facts or truth. And there is a want, I feel, on both sides to repair and to work together on this. This has come out a lot of times in relationship readings that I've done recently. So let's get a final outcome on this. Okay, well that was that. So final outcome, we've got the Empress and the Tower. So expect some real sudden changes to occur on this. You know, there is divine timing and also divine intervention, I feel, because there's a bit of a stalemate going on. Something's going to happen to change that, to move it forward. And I do feel like there's quite a feminine force around that. So maybe this person has been talking to some female of significance in their lives that is saying to them, like, you know, just talk to them, just go for it. And or maybe, you know, your friends or your family or whoever is just sort of like, you know, you're feeling miserable about this, you need to go and speak to them, you need to go and talk to them. Then maybe that's happening on both sides, and this is how it needs to come together. Final word then, let me see. So what is the final word on this? Yeah, you've both been thinking about each other quite a lot. We've got the Six of Cups on there. So you're reminiscing, maybe looking back over photos, maybe thinking about things. Maybe there's a lot of reminders as well that are coming up. There's something about trees with that. Maybe there's particular trees that you like to go and sit by, or that you have spent time with. But there's something about a tree, I feel, from that. Something about a church as well. So maybe that's a churchyard, maybe there's a yew tree or something that you used to go and sit by. Yeah, there's definitely something about a church. I can hear that buzzard again. Keep following me around. Right, and we have the Knight of Coins. So this is somebody that is bringing in... Wait a minute. So that knave... Sorry, that's not the knight then, is it? That's a page, the knave. Yeah. Okay. But again, it has that same message of sort of like somebody that's like a slow moving energy, but does have this pentacle to offer. You know, there is an offer coming in here. And we have strength as well, which, you know, this is having the courage. There's a feeling here of sort of like, you know, this isn't going away and the feelings are only getting stronger. It's a need for really communicating this to each other now, and there is this offer coming in. However slow moving that is, it's on its way, is what I'm getting from this. Yeah, there's a need to remove the cloak. There's a need to remove the air of mystery to this. I'm feeling. Ooh. Somebody needs to take off the cloak and have courage and bravery to do that, because that's only going to build more trust within the connection. If something is still hidden, I feel like both of you are intuitive enough to know that there's secrets or there's things being hidden. So just let it all out, and then you can move forward with the facts. So I'm going to leave this reading here for you. If you would like to know more on this on a personal level, then do get in touch for a personalised reading. Do like and subscribe to my channel as well, and I will see you all very soon. Have a blessed day.